Hey, what's up? It's Y, the team captain of the CMU Rodeo team and your host for this show.
And I'm Brandon Edwards, head coach for the CMU Rodeo team and your co-host. Now, in case you were worried about our Mavericks from their performance in Idaho, rest assured, they came to play in Colorado. There were a pile of Mavericks who were taking care of business at the Spartan Showdown.
In this show, we will recap all of the thrills, spills, and triumphs from each weekend's rodeo. We're bringing you the most exciting moments from the arena. From heart-pounding bull rides to the stunning barrel runs, we'll relive the highs, the heartbreaks, and the jaw-dropping action that kept fans on the edge of their seats. Whether you missed the show or just want to experience it all over again, we've got you covered. Saddle up and let's dive into the wildest rides of the Spartan Showdown. This is Rodeo Recorded. Thanks again for joining us. I'm Wiley Mitchell.
And I'm Brandon Edwards. Let's take a deep dive into the Spartan Showdown.
Breakaway roping was interesting. There were only 14 clean runs. 2 of them were Our Lady Mavericks. Josie Fitzsimmons placed 6th in the first round with a 3.8. The freshman went to rope one fast in the short round and placed 3rd in the average. Shannon Battelle made her short round debut. The sophomore roped her first calf in a 4.5 for 10th place. She didn't have any luck in the short round, but we were all so excited for her to catch at her first college rodeo. Sadie Davis of Utah State University Eastern won the average with a 6.5. She ended up with 135 points for the weekend.
The Mavericks brought more team ropers back to the short round than any other event. 3 teams were given the opportunity to lay down a second run. Of course, Haley Stroud and Josie Fitzsimmons repeated from their good work in Pocatello. They were 11.8 in the first round. Cy Lanier and Levi Allen were right behind them with a 12.1, and right on their heels was Shay Grogan and her healer from Snow College, McKiley Brown. Now, none of the teams placed in the short go, but Will Culler and Matthew Gunter were the weekend champions with a 13.3 on 2 head and had an incredible weekend with a 5.5 second run on their first steer that got them the added section of those bonus points.
Our ladies recovered from their bad weekend in Pocatello and had a great weekend of goat tying. The score was set at 130 feet instead of the traditional 100, and our ladies stopped the clock in good timing. We better start it off by talking about Justice Jones. The Canadian placed 2nd in the first round with a 7.6. She improved her time in the short round with a 7.4. She was awarded the Spartan Stampede Champion belt buckle. Shay Grogan, myself, and SUU's top competitor Samantha Donovan all had twinning times of an 8.7. This put us in a 3-way tie for 6th place. The times in the short round were not quite as consistently fast as in the long go, as we were getting rained on during the performance. I had a 9-second run in the short go that placed me 3rd in the round and 4th in the average. Haley Stroud and Josie Fitzsimmons were right on the verge of making it back, but were both on the wrong side of the cutoff as they placed 11th and 13th in the long go.
Caden Anderson did cover his first horse in the bronc riding and was given the option for a re-ride, but didn't take it, taking the points and not choosing to wipe the slate clean. His score was 51. Since not enough people covered both horses, he still ended up 4th in the average and made a total of 60 points on the weekend. Brian Evans is on the road to be a repeat champion here in the 24-25 season, and with the only man to be 3 rodeos in, he's won every one to date. His score in the first round was a 58 and 60 in the short round, but holding on for 16 seconds has won him a rodeo yet again. Now, I'm a little less enthusiastic talking about the barrel racing this weekend, mainly because Wiley Mitchell was our only short rogo qualifier. Her and Gus did not have one of their normal runs. He blew a little past first barrel a bit, took 3rd wide as they placed 6th in the first round and 6th in the average. Mackley Larson, the freshman from Utah State University Eastern, was the champion at her 2nd ever college rodeo, winning the short round and the average with a total of 35 and 13 on 2.
Now, overall, our Mavs didn't do the best, but they didn't do the worst. Now that we've looked at each event individually, let's take a look at this week's Short Go photo.
Now this week, we had a few people make it back in 2 events, and we had a lot of team ropers, which I must admit I love to see as a former team roper myself. Plus 3 of our 4 men made the short round, which is more than half of the entire men on our team. So I'd say it was a pretty good weekend. Now, as a team, the Lady Mavericks ended up third. Again, Utah State University Eastern, was the champion, and Idaho State wasn't far behind them.
Now, we talked about all the statistics and the nitty-gritty details, but before we leave, let's talk about some of our favorite moments from the weekend. For me, it was the Spartan Showdown Wild Ride. The Wild Ride was a costume saddle bronc riding that anyone could enter. There were some awesome costumes. I mean, there were people dressed up like Alan from The Hangover, there was a Mary Poppins, but nothing quite compared to our Nevada Cowboys that are now living in Colorado. Caden Henderson dressed up as Lord Farquaad from Shrek. My absolute favorite moment from the weekend was watching Jonas Bouchon. He came dressed up as Donald Trump. Now there's a song that they had playing during the ride that made it even better. And then after he rode, and boy did he make a good ride, when he got off, he had the Secret Service team in suit coats jump on him and cover him up. Playing the part all too well, he threw his hand in the air in true Trump fashion, and the crowd went wild. Brandon, what was it like being one of the Secret Service men in that moment?
It was pretty fun. That was a great thing for Garrett Upton, the head coach at CNCC, to start. He'd been looking for some sort of a tradition to have to really set his rodeo apart, and I'm actually more excited to see what it's going to look like next year now that some people have kind of got the idea of what it is and are probably going to go even further all out with the costumes.
Did you have any other favorite moments from the weekend?
You know, I honestly, that was definitely the highlight for me, but really enjoyed seeing that rodeo grow. Garrett's put a lot of effort into it. He's won most improved rodeo last year. I would probably say they're up for it again this year. That program has really got a lot of momentum and really starting to do things the right way in a town that's really built to support that team.
Well, that's a wrap for this week's Rodeo Roundup. We've seen incredible victories, heart-stopping misses, and the kind of grit that makes rodeo one of the most thrilling sports around. Thanks for joining us as we relived the highs and the lows of the arena. And don't forget to tune in to the next episode for more rodeo recaps. I'm your host, Wiley Mitchell.
And I'm your co-host, Brandon Edwards.
And if you enjoyed watching this week, why stop now? We'll see you on the next episode of Rodeo Recorded.